Good morning everyone, and welcome to Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves here in the Sabi Sand, South Africa, and welcome to Safari Live. Well, what a night it was last night. I hope you watched. If you're with us for the first time, well, you're going to have to try and catch up, and I really hope you do today, because last night was just incredible, and I don't think we could ever have scripted anything. Nothing of this is scripted, as you know, but what happened last night with those lions and what Peter and Brian were on top of was just an incredible experience. My name's Hayden Turner. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit overwhelmed by what happened last night and what we captured live on Safari Live. We got a serious rain last night. We all got completely soaked, and I really apologise about the late start, but we had to have the back of the vehicles open this morning. The sun is shining, the bush looks absolutely magical this morning here, and you're going to see that as we drive around. There's sun glistening on the leaves, on little water droplets, and there's a beautiful fresh breeze blowing. Sky is blue, little bit of slight cloud over there, but it's an absolutely magical sight. So this is what it's all about. When you wake up on a morning like this, everything feels really refreshed. But wow, what a night last night. Whew, I tell you what, there's something that is so special about seeing things like that in the wild and seeing that natural sequence of events occur. But when you watch it on a documentary that I've seen many times, you wish you were there. Last night we were there, and it happened in front of our very eyes. I can't tell you the feeling that I had. As we came up, I saw Pete. We sort of came off this road, and I was heading up towards the line. Pete was already there, of course, and taking you through it all. And we came scooting around the corner, and I saw Pete, and I could hear the buffalo, and I could see things starting to happen. We could see lines starting to move through the bush. And then I saw Pete scoot down this road, or cross the road, and then all the sort of sounds started to occur. Buffalo crashing through the vegetation, and then the lines and everything, and then bang, they got a buffalo. Their third buffalo in 48 hours, which is, these boys are really on the hunt. Incredible stuff. I had to talk to, as we were driving to camp this morning, I had to talk to Graham, and Graham said, you know, Peter's had this theory about there's a big pride over one side and a big pride over another side of the reserves, and these 5 boys are sort of in this little no man's land just here around this area, where they're not being hassled by any other pride back, and as they came back forward and everything, it was just an incredible sequence of events. Even as I talk about it, I get goosebumps, you know. And as I was sitting behind Peter and Brian, VM and I were just listening, and Peter's commentary and his running commentary of that was just superb. The energy and the enthusiasm, and you could feel it, and I was just absolutely riveted. So I just wanted to recap on that, because I think what we saw last night was something that you just don't get a chance to see very often, happening in front of your very eyes. But live, and broadcasting it live, was, for us, was just an absolute #1. And a little bit hard to watch at times, I know, for some people, but you know, it is raw and it's real, and that's what happens in the bush. We had an incredible evening, and the last 2 evenings have been quite spectacular. So who knows what today's going to bring. We're going to drive around and have a little bit of a look. We received a serious amount of rain last night. Zanelli and Jigger, the 2 vehicles, are okay. The great thing about this morning is that every single, other than maybe a couple of the game vehicles that have been out, vehicles that is, on the road. So everything that we see is going to be pretty fresh. It didn't stop raining probably until the early hours of this morning. So the tracks that we see are going to be pretty good, and we're going to look at a little bit of that this morning, because tracking at this time after a big rain is perfect. All the old tracks have been obliterated, and all the new tracks are fresh, and it's a really great time, not just to figure out what was around, but also to learn a little bit about tracks. Now, I think we're going to head up just onto a couple of the areas where the line were. We also, Scott went up and had to have a look at one of the aerials with Brian this morning. One of our masts, we had to just double check on that through the rain last night, and they saw a lot of hyena. There's just lots of stuff going on. So let's have a drive around and see what we can find. If you've got any questions, you can send them to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can tweet us at #SafariLive. I should introduce, I've got Jason on here this morning with me, which is fantastic because Jason and I don't get a chance to drive together very often, so that's brilliant. Brian's going to be with Scott. Scott's just, and Brian and Jigger are just giving the vehicle a little bit longer to dry out. We've got the back of the vehicle open and just trying to get the sunshine on it. The sun's feeling beautiful on us at the moment. But it's great to have you on board. Welcome to Safari Live, and all I can say is let's go and explore this beautiful place. The thing I love about being out in the bush, folks, is that you just have to look left or look right, and there's always going to be something. And I've just looked to the right, and there's a good, beautiful giraffe up here browsing. So let's go and say hello to him, or her. I can't quite see from where I am. I think it's a female. I think it's 2 females. I'm not really sure. Let's get up a bit closer. There's a lovely bull there, sorry, as well. We'll just stop here and just let them, we'll just move up a little bit closer so I can get Jason a better shot. But you're going to see this bull doing exactly what the giraffes have been designed for over a long period of time. Let's have a little look at these guys just for a while. Very relaxed. A bull and a cow, and the great thing that you can see there is the difference in prominence of those horns as well. The individual on the right has got those sort of really big thumpy horns there, and this cow that's just walking across frame. So that's the bull, and he's got those bigger. He's not that old. He's got much more prominent horns on top there, those sort of little tufts of hair. But you can probably see the female's horns and his horns, 2 very, very different sized horns. Now we know that they're the only mammal born with horns other than their close relative, the okapi, which is in Central Africa. But those horns that do play a major role for the bulls, they definitely use them when they're knocking each other's heads and necks around, and body blows by doing that behaviour called necking. And they're definitely not doing that at the moment. They're very, very happy just to be browsing and enjoying this beautiful morning light. Beautiful bull, that one on the right there. And look at, you can see how tall he is there, looking up to scratching his horn on that tree, on the branch of the tree. These animals have found a perfect niche. They exploit a vegetative sort of band that not many other animals can get to other than elephants, and they do very, very well for themselves with that. You can see that they can reach down quite low, as the female is doing just there, but they can also reach up incredibly high, and that beautiful, beautiful long tongue allows them to strip the foliage off, wraps around or pulls the foliage back into the mouth. It's a prehensile tongue, which means, basically the word prehensile means it's got the ability to wrap around things, exactly like a monkey's tail or our finger for that matter. And he might reach up quite high here and see if he tries to get some good foliage off for us. He's just scratching the side of his neck there on that tree. That's great. You're going to hear loads of birds this morning too, folks. You've got Cape turtle doves in the background there, a beautiful African sound of the morning and afternoon, but all through the day actually. But it's sort of one of those sounds, those quintessential African sounds of the morning. Beautiful light on those. That's great, Jason, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Look at them, completely undisturbed by us sitting here. We're probably about 30 or 40 meters away from them. They're just moving along, browsing different species that they prefer. Oh, you've got to love giraffes. That's a beautiful scene. Excuse me. Now there is a giraffe around somewhere that's got a bit of a sore leg, so we're going to try and follow up on him as well. I'm not sure where he is. Now that male giraffe could be trailing her because she may be excuse me please, maybe coming into estrus, so coming into season, and he will figure that out by keeping up very, very close to her and getting signs and signals from the scent in her urine, and he'll be able to tell perfectly when she's in estrus. And what he'll do is he'll do that and then take the scent into his nose and flip his front lip up over his nasal cavity and decipher whether she is in estrus. Beautiful. Well, that's a lovely little start. Thank you. One of my favourite animals in Africa, giraffe. And I spent a lot of time working with giraffe in zoological institutions, and done a bit of wildlife capture of giraffes and translocations of giraffes. They're just incredible, incredible animals. Well, it's good to be out in this beautiful place in the morning. And you can have a look at this road here. To just get Jason just to have a little, just to look how smooth that road is. There's no tyre tracks on it. A little bit hard to see, but there's no tyre tracks. Any animal tracks we see are going to be beautiful and very, very well defined. So we'll stop and have a look at some of those on the way. So Scott's out this morning with me. Pete's having a bit of a lie-in after what he went through last night. I think he needs it. He was incredible last night. Here's just a lovely parting shot of these giraffes. Beautiful. Really shows you how they use that beautiful tongue. See that tongue coming out, ripping foliage off, holding it on. Now the giraffes don't have any teeth at the front on the top. They've got a hard crushing plate, and all the ruminants have that. They've got molars, so the back teeth on top and bottom, and then they've got incisors on the bottom of their front jaw, and no teeth on the top. So what they'll do is hold that foliage and then just pull their head backwards and strip it off. But then the tongue allows them to reach out, particularly in really thorny acacias, to strip the tender foliage off between those thorns without getting the thorns in their eyes, ears, nose and mouth. Having a good old scratch there. Beautiful. This boy's coming up really close over to us here. This is now only about probably 20 meters away. So wherever that female goes, the only reason I'm guessing that she's coming into estrus and coming into season is every move she makes he follows, and he's quite keen to stay close to her. Let's just see what happens here. Yeah, she's playing a little. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. He's definitely chasing her, and she's just playing a little bit hard to get there. Let's just get a little bit up here. Absolutely certain that she's coming into estrus. You watch, he'll go down and he'll sniff. That's exactly going down, sniffing, and just getting a little bit of her scent. And look, she's urinating now. Look. Absolutely fantastic behaviour. Absolutely fantastic behaviour. There's a little bit. Nasal cavity, and we'll just sit here with them for a little bit longer because this is quite interesting to watch. There's a little baby there, and that's probably hers. I'd say it's hers. I can't see any of the other females around. They do spend a little bit of time away from each other. When I say away, probably within a couple of 100 meters, as long as they can see each other. But I've noticed this little calf has been quite off by himself at times from his mum. I'm pretty sure this is his mum. And come into well after she's given birth, and then once she's in season, she'll be followed by this male, and hopefully he'll have a success, and she'll still be carrying potentially a new calf while she's weaning the other one. But this other youngster's quite young. It's a 15-month gestation period, which is quite long, but you do need to have the longer. That's a beautiful little calf, isn't it? My goodness, so special. The gestation period with a lot of the hoofed animals is quite long, for the simple reason they have to hit the ground running. They really do, and they have to be able to get up and get going pretty quickly to have a good advantage over predation. And they really do. They're 6 foot or 2 meters when they're born, and the mother gives birth to them when she's standing up. They fall to the ground, break the amniotic sac and the umbilical cord from the calf. She'll then get the calf cleaned up and to its feet as quickly as it possibly can, and then life goes on. So really nice behaviour. We sit and look at giraffes all. They're very, very interesting, but when you see some of the behaviour, he's speak to him and help him away from her there, but he's hanging away from her calf there, but he's hanging around for one very, very good reason, that is she is coming into season. You may not see the sort of buddying up or the parenting from giraffes like you do see from like wildebeest or zebra or something like that, staying so close, but they do have the advantage of that fantastic height, so they can see their offspring from further away. But that is a beautiful little calf on a fresh morning here on Safari Live in the bush, where we definitely had a bit of precipitation. Now, I just had a couple of tweets and emails for a very special reason. This is gaining some pretty serious status amongst some of you and between us as well. This porcupine quill I picked up, about a week or two ago, and just picked it up off the road to talk about it and talk about porcupine and what an incredible animal they are that we don't see very often. They're a nocturnal rodent. They're the biggest rodent in Africa. We don't see them very often because they're quite secretive, and when they hear a vehicle coming, they probably take off. You've just got to be lucky with porcupine. They live in a burrow, normally an old burrow from aardvark, or it's been cleared out by a warthog, but they will then adjust or redecorate, so to speak, in their burrow and make a series of tunnels and areas where they can breed and stay out of danger, particularly during the day. But this porcupine quill is a bit of good luck. I was in Namibia a long time ago, probably about 4 years ago, and I did a documentary over there with some wonderful people called the San or Khoisan, the Bushmen, and I spent a very, very memorable month, or just under a month, with a community right out on the Botswana and Namibian border in a place called Tungwe, and they sustainably utilise porcupine. So they hunt porcupine. They're a local community, and porcupine are a sustainable resource for them. So they find the meat quite favourable. It's a very, very big effort. It's a big danger to go. And what they do is they dig down into the porcupine burrows, and they actually go and they wiggle their way through these burrows and the porcupine. And then they'll dig down and acquire them. And it's a very, very good resource for them. Amazing amount of meat for the community. They get up to about 30-35 kilograms of meat, and high, very, very nutritious meat. Well, when I was there and they hunted one, I saw a very, very special man that I still see to this day when I go to Namibia. And he did this amazing sort of spiritual sort of a dance when they hunted it, and was laying his hands all over these porcupine quills, and there was a sort of magic about the porcupine quills that, you know, didn't really come to home until this. Now, superstitious we all may be at some little point in our life, but this is just a bit of fun, really, and it's just, there's an amazing sort of coincidence that's happened since we've had this. We've had some incredible luck, and we all guard this porcupine quill with our lives at the moment. Everyone sort of touched it last night before we drove out, and who knows? It's just a bit of fun. But we are guarding the porcupine quill, folks. The lucky quill sits with me every day. The boys all touch it before we go out, and hopefully it's going to bring us some success today and for the rest of the week, for the rest of the few months, for everyone. So the porcupine quill is here. A lovely start to the morning. Giraffe doing some beautiful behaviour there. And just to recap on that, what we just saw was the male trailing the female, and he probably will trail her for quite some time until she's exactly at the right point for mating, and he will offer his services and hopefully be successful there. Beautiful bull. Everything just looks so fresh and lovely. And Scott had a beautiful morning yesterday. It was so great he came back really elated yesterday. Those vultures on those lines. And he'll be out quite shortly, I'm sure. He's just really enjoying his time here. Can't believe it. Can't believe the cats. Scott's worked in this area before, and he's worked all over the place. He's done some amazing things up in Tanzania, and fantastic fun. The weather forecast is touch the wood, touch the porcupine quill. The weather forecast. Fine weather for the next few days, we hope, so we're looking forward to that. With this little downpour, we're going to have a lot more water points around, and what I mean by that is the water, little animals will disperse a little bit harder, but at the same time, you just don't know. There's no sort of they're the sort of general rules and the things that we think about. It's quite cool, so the predators can still be enjoying the morning. We are going to head over towards the lions and the hyenas and all those sorts of things, so we'll make our way across there, but just investigate this area as we go across and see what's happening. Impala, something a little bit of as well, and there's two there. There's one browsing off that lovely shrub, and then there's a couple grazing on the ground. So very versatile antelope. They're one of my favourites as well. We do, as I said last night, we give them a bit of a cursory glance sometimes, which we shouldn't, because they're incredible creatures. That's it, we see those little animals. Excuse me. So we're going to head up onto Zoe's Road, which is one of the roads that connects down to where the lions were last night. There's some really common sort of incident. See that yesterday or the day before, sorry. So that male with the bigger, he looks a little bit older than the others, and he might be from the same pride. He might just be from a different mother, and lions. Can sort of coordinate, or their litters can be very, very similar in space of time. And one of the reasons for that is, I'm sure most people have heard of something called infanticide. A male will dispose of, for want of a better word, and the cubs, all the cubs of a certain age, as much as he can get to. To carry on his genetic line, but the other reason for that is the females will come into estrus very, very quickly if they're not suckling. So after about 2 or 3 weeks, the females will then all can wait, being all born, all the cubs being born at similar time. So they could have just been like a couple of months out, or even he could have been a young male that survived that, and one of the females might have protected. That takeover happen, you can't really put. You can come up with lots of different scenarios. So that male, that blonde-maned male, looks a little bit older, potentially from the same pride, not always. Kicked out pride. There's mental realizations from those lines. I haven't been doing any roaring or anything like that for the simple reason they want to lay low. They don't want to be noticed. They just want to sit here, get as much food as they possibly can. Sort of buffer zone, and as Pete was saying to Graham on the way home last night, he thinks that Birmingham Pride, or the Birmingham boys, are in a very, very lot of people are coming into this area, which is a situation that was pretty inevitable last night, we think. But we have seen many a time buffalo coming back to push the lines off. Meters from here was that lion kill last night. Now I'm not sure if this is the same herd. It may be, but there's a few different herds this size at the moment on Djuma, and over on the Arathusa. After have them being able to the buffalo herd with initially the buffalo come back and push them away. Let's have a little look further. It's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff when all this action's happened the night before. It's really exciting stuff. Lots of, probably about 30 to 40 animals in that herd. I haven't gotten the temperature yet for you folks. I'm feeling like it's in the early 20s, around 20. I'm having a guess at the moment. Around to get it. I'm just going to go along Impala Plains here and just see, because the guys, when they came and checked on the mast where we've got all our signaling equipment, where the camera hyena. A lot of hyena up here this morning. This is a much bigger herd. Sorry, it's huge. There was only individuals up there. Now we're seeing many more. We'll just stop here, make sure we don't disturb them, and let them move off. Well, yeah, there's loads here. Slightly unusual around, which is us, but you can see the individual is still lying down. They're not concerned. There's one lying down on its side over there. It's that relaxed. A little bit further there. You can see the females. These are all females we're looking at here. There might be a couple of young bulls in there, but we're looking at individuals that are got much smaller, much less pronounced horns than the bulls. Those bulls have that big, what's called a boss, which is the middle part of the horns, where the horns join there. Yeah, this is a big herd passing through here. 100 buffalo at them, over 100 animals now that I look closer. So there could be some serious action still here over the next few days with lion, that's for sure. We can sit on these reserves for many a week, many a week, and not see lion for a long time, and then suddenly when there's buffalo, we'll get a lot of lion action. Lion will still hunt many other species, you know, particularly deer and zebra. Okay, I've just got a really static signal at the moment, unfortunately, from our control center. I'm just going to move on a little bit when these moved. I might actually turn around. 17 degrees Celsius and 54 Fahrenheit, folks. So it's actually cooler than I thought. 60, folks. I'm going to just back down and let them carry on doing what they're doing. I think it's a kind gesture after what they've been. Reasonable night last night. I think the Lions did short work of that calf that they pulled down. It was sort of a juvenile they got last night, and they pretty much had finished 3/4 of that. Down a bit longer and sat with them and just watched them on that. They laid the vehicle, had a bit of a look. It was incredible to see. They really did. This is one of the pools of water that I'm talking about. Now, animals will, even though it looks a little bit muddy, you'll get some animals that will come down and just use this as a water point for ease of operation. And there's going to be lots of these little water sort of points, not just on the roads, but little wallows that have filled up. So it has been a pretty incredible start to Big Cat Week on Nat Geo Wild and National Geographic Channel. It's been extraordinary to see what we've seen in the last 48 hours. But also I want to go back at the past month for everyone that's been with us and further years ago. And after I joined this team, it's been a pretty incredible month for me. The 1st of December today, Jace, is it? Okay. Yeah. The 1st of December, I've lost track of time. But being the 1st of December, it's a month for nothing like I would have ever dreamed of. You know, you come into the bush and you expect to see some lovely stuff. You do, because it's Africa, but wow, what we have captured and what we've seen and what we've shared with you, particularly for me, has been one of the most incredible experiences. I think I've said it a couple of times and I don't mean to repeat myself, but I feel like I've been reborn into this wildlife television. It's just the most invigorating thing I've ever done. Knowing that it's live and you are watching and the interact social. There's a certain smell in the air too, folks, that I always try to give you as much information about our senses that we're feeling at the moment. Jason and I are feeling a little bit cold this morning, and it's definitely 17 degrees, and I know for some of you in the world you'll be saying that's a hot summer's day wherever you are, that are probably feeling the beginnings of your winter spell. But for us, this is quite a brisk morning, fresh, alive, feels beautiful. There's a certain type of smell in the air after rain as well, and I do love that about Africa. It's one of the first things that hit me when I got off a plane in 1992 in Zimbabwe. It was the smell, even at the airport. You know, just walking across the tarmac. It was this hot summer's day that I arrived, and it was a beautiful, beautiful scent. And the smell this morning is this fresh, beautiful, alive scent in the air. We got soaked last night, absolutely drenched. We had tarpaulins all over the vehicles, and we were sitting on the tarpaulins, and we were driving about this speed home, which made it feel twice as long, 3 times as long. And the rain was beating on our faces, and our caps, we were using our caps to break the rain on our faces, on our eyes. And we got home, back to the camp, got dry, everything's still a little bit soggy. But hey ho, that's life. It was all good. We survived, but we saw some incredible stuff, and it was well worth every second. So this is the area where all the action happened last night, folks. This road right here. Just got a question from Tracy in Victoria. Hi Tracy, welcome aboard and fantastic. I love Victoria. Been there for many moons. Tracy, your question is a really interesting question, and it's a really, why did the lions kill that second buff last night, that second buffalo, when they had a kill already? Well, the reason for that is the opportunity arose, and from what I gather, I wasn't there for all of that. Pete talked you through that. I was actually over on Arathusa when we turned around to come back on that. And what happened was, as far as I can gather, those animals were on that buffalo already around their kill, and then the other buffalo herd came down and started to present themselves as an opportunity for the lions. So, wow, it's a little bit like, excuse me, but don't mean to make, I'm certainly not making fun of it, but it's like having home delivery, really. You know, those animals were walking onto the lions, and those lions are going to take every opportunity they can. There's 5 massive mouths to feed there, and you can see the how quickly they consumed the kill from the day before. That was only lasted them sort of 24 to 36 hours max. And then they had another one. They will consume as much as they can. And if the situation presents itself, they will definitely take that opportunity. Now, it wasn't a big individual, that's for sure. It was a juvenile, so it only fed a couple of them. Some of them, without going into the fine detail, those the internal organs of the animal are very, very nutritious. So probably the most dominant one, and that was the bigger boy, he would have got his fair share of those, and then you know, he sort of goes down a little bit of a line, sorry, there's a bit of a joke there, a bit of a line with the lions that they would then have to just sort of wait their turn a little bit. They don't want to have a conflict situation occur. But last night I saw some really interesting behaviour where the more dominant one, or the one that was on a particular area of the animal eating, the other animal lion came a little bit close to his eating spot, and he put his paw out and grabbed the other lion right on the face with his claws and held him. And the other animal submitted to that and just sat and sat and sat. And he held him whilst he still ate for about 20 or 30 seconds. Lions share food grudgingly, that's for sure. They don't necessarily want to share and just, oh, come on, you've missed out or anything like that. They'll definitely get their share first. But then they don't want to have that conflict. They don't want to hurt each other to the point where they're going to inflict injury, but they will have a scrap about it, which is partially theatrical, but then they will force if they have to. So they can cop some serious wounds out of it. But I just want you to, so sorry Tracy, to finish your answer there, is that the other individuals probably moved back off to the larger kill to protect that. And that's what I'm imagining happened. I just want you to have a look down on the ground here, just behind me. That area just there, on the ground. You can see the green sort of matter just there, all that area just there, and then there's earth moved up underneath it, but the green area just here is what's called rumen, and that's partially digested food from the buffalo. There's nothing here. Actually, there's one small bone on the ground just here, a rib bone, just to the right there, Jace. It's a bit hard to see. It's very close to the vehicle. We might even not get it out on a wide, maybe. Just there at the bottom of the screen, that just there is one rib bone just there, and that's all that's left. So they made short work of that, and I think it was probably they finished most of it, and then the hyenas would have picked up the last bit. So we'll move on and see if we can pick up where those lions are. A lot of action here last night. These roads are going to be a little bit slippery today as well. Well, folks, just have a look at this. These are all the boys. We've just come around the corner, and this is the old catchphrase that I'm sorry I use so often, but this is the classic, you don't know what's around the next corner. Wow. We've got the boys, the Birmingham boys, sleeping off their night. We've got 1, 2, 3 individuals lying in the middle of the road, and one just walked off into the bush. to our left. Wow, I love this place. This is just fantastic. We've got flat cats, but I tell you what, flat cats are still big cats. And what a pleasure to drive up and see these guys just around the corner. I'm going to stay back this far just for the moment, just till they get a little bit used to us, and then I'm going to pull up around to the right a little bit. They're very relaxed. There's another vehicle. Cedric, fantastic guide from Arathusa, is just up ahead of us here with his guests, and they are enjoying this moment as well. Some of them may have seen the situation last night or heard about it, and they've just come up to have a look as well. So we're only an hour, well, starting on an hour in, folks, to our beautiful morning drive, and this is just great stuff. These Birmingham boys have given us some incredible encounters over the last 48 hours. And we've been sitting with these guys for about a week and a half now, just coming across them now and again, seeing them around. But it sort of peaked last night with that amazing encounter. And now they seem to be still happy to be on Djuma. And they might move across to Arathusa. If they do that, we'll definitely be with them. But I don't think they're going anywhere fast at the moment. So what I'm going to do, folks, is just drive in a little bit here. I think they'll be fine with that. We might just wait and see what this guy's doing first. See if he's going to lie back down or walk towards us. It's very cool. If it was a hot day or a hot morning, they would be in the shade. But because it's so cool, they're lying on that beautiful cool sand. Meeting these guys so young, you feel like you just want to follow their life. They've got some incredible things to happen to them in the future. Whether they stay together or not's another thing. We don't know, but if they do stay together, they're going to be probably one of the biggest forces to be reckoned with in this area. A coalition of 5 males. Wow, it's not that common. It does happen, and there's been lots of research and science that shows it happens, but this is definitely a coalition of boys that, if they do band together and stay together and don't break up, I don't think anyone will be able to stand in their way. Oh, magic. He's coming just over a little bit further. He's just moving off there. Not really sure what he's up to, but he might be just finding a little bit of a more comfortable spot. I can still see him just going through the bush, folks, so we'll look at the other ones. I'll keep you posted on what he's up to. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure if they've got it in them to take another buffalo this morning, but you just never know. You really don't. Those buffalo were moving this direction as well, which is interesting. This just goes to show you I'm just going to move up a little bit closer now, folks. I just want to see where this boy's gone. Okay. So let's just have a little look at these guys before we move up to, because there's a kill that they've done, the other kill that they've done just here, so we're going to go and push our way in through there as well. Let's just have a little look at these boys here. There's the blonde male, I think, just trying to get a handle on in the bush there. He's just resting just there. There's one walking up close to us here, Jace, just to the right. They're about 3 to 4 meters away from us, folks. I'm just going to, you might hear a bit of rustling around. I'm just going to take a couple of photographs because they're so close to us. That's about 3 meters away from us. He's just walking off into get a bit of cool just there. They love to find a little spot themselves and just lie in some shade, even though it feels 17, 18 degrees now. After a night like what they've had, all they need is cool and rest. But tell you what, let's go and have a look at these guys up here. There's another 2 feeding up here on this carcass, so definitely worthwhile. I love this. I love this. Welcome to Safari Live. Just watch these shrubs on you, Jace. Just these branches on the aerial, please, mate. Nice shot from there, Jace. Tell me if you want me to move up a little bit. How's that for you? A little bit further up? Yeah, I'll just go up a little bit more. Okay. So you've got one of the individuals still can't get enough food, these guys. Really can't. So let's just recap. We're going to call this kill number 2. So this is kill 2. The first one that we saw on was it last night, the night before last, or the morning 2 days ago was kill one, and that was the one that they brought down on the edge of the road there that I sat with in the afternoon, and we also followed the same in the evening, and that's the night that Peter and I had the leopard as well over on when we did the campfire chat. So this is the next one that they killed that night whilst we were having the campfire chat, and they would have sat with this yesterday, and then yesterday afternoon, last evening, sorry, they killed that other calf, juvenile, which they have completely consumed, or some other animals would have finished that off, and they came back to protect this bigger kill. And this bigger kill is a much sort of greater prize, really, to protect. So we saw some interesting behaviour there. We saw some behaviour where they were consuming that smaller buffalo as much as they possibly could, and then coming back to protect this. Now, if it was about 25 or 27 degrees now, he may not be as active as he is now, but still beautiful and cool. And these are the factors that we always talk about, everyone. The temperature plays a huge role in the action, and these prolonged or elongated periods of activity can sort of put the general sort of rule of thumb that out the window, really, that lions are, you know, inactive for sort of 3/4 of the day type of thing. It just depends. It really does depend. There's always exceptions to the rule, and where there's really prolific food source, they can spend those times of the day, 20 hours sometimes even, just completely inactive, resting or socializing slightly or going to get water, but 4 hours of the day roughly would be spent hunting. But then again, it can all change when the temperature's in their favour, which it is this morning. So you've got a couple of them that are resting. You've got, whilst you're watching that, just about maybe 10 metres to the left is another individual. So the 5 boys are here this morning, and they've all had a fantastic buffalo feed. He just thinks it's all a bit too much, trying to get some more out of that at the moment. I think he's a bit over it. No, he's going to have another try. When you look at the lion from that angle, you can see the massive power in the shoulders and the front end of the lion. Super muscular. A really great force. Just making his way around there, trying to figure out where to go in. Sometimes the skin, the really thick buffalo hide, can be a little bit tedious to get through for them, so they'll go the direction that they are now and try and tear the skin back or rip the skin back if they can. He's definitely keen to eat some more, this guy. But he said, nah, it's too hard, all too much work. And he's just going through to his brother there, potentially his brother, to have a little bit of a... I'm just going to move up a little bit, folks, just so we can see that. maybe just have a look at that, Jace. I don't know what. Let's see what he does. He may come back to this kill and have a little look. Doing a little bit of scenting there. Not quite the territorial sort of behaviour where he'll spray his urine, but still, these boys are getting into their own sort of flow now, and they will be just building their strength and building their bond and building that coalition that can last for a very, very long time. So we've still got another individual over here who's just sitting, he's just behind that vegetation, so I'm just going to roll back for you, Jason, to get a little bit better shot of him. Oh, just peeked through there. Little gap in the vegetation there. So you know I like to tell you everything, and just to, if it was smell-o-vision, yeah, we can definitely get a little bit of a waft of the buffalo at the moment. So interesting, one of the boys has just stayed here with the kill, and he's probably going to stay here and look after that. The others are just down behind us, which we'll go and visit in a minute, and there will be other creatures coming this way. Hyena definitely will love to finish this off, but then again, hyena might also be down by that kill one or carcass one, because there's a lot of bones and things left down there. The vultures made short work of majority of the tissue or the protein, but there's definitely bones down there that the hyenas will relish and clear up an incredible amount of. Probably get as much through as much as they possibly can, leaving just the horn, the animal's horns, and the rumen. They'll even eat some of the skull and the teeth, hyena, which is a pretty incredible thing. And there's been records of the hyena digesting teeth, the buffalo's teeth or herbivore's teeth, in just over 24 hours, which tells you something about the digestive juices and acids in a buffalo, in a hyena's stomach. So I'm just going to go back down where those others are and just see if we can sit with them for a second. Just got to do a little bit of manoeuvring here, folks. There's the buffalo kill just over there. And we'll just try and get out and make our way. Jason, am I okay to come back there, mate? Okay. Just got to be really careful in this terrain, everyone, that not the place you want to get a puncture, that's for sure. Otherwise, Jason would be getting out to change the tyre and... Okay, let's try that again. So, it sounds a lot worse than it is, folks. I'm driving over a lot of dead sticks here. And when they brush under the vehicle or brush aside the vehicle, it sounds a little hectic. go. So we've got one boy there, and there's another one just here, and another one just in here, and then another one just back there. So our perception of heat and their perception of heat are two different things. At the moment, the heat is still probably under 20 degrees. Under 20 degrees, it's definitely a little bit warm for them. I'm just going to reposition the vehicle, folks. I know it's a nice shot and everything, but I just want to get a little bit more angled on to them to give us a bit better chance to see. There's another one just here. It's okay, my boy. It's okay. Everything's fine there, gentlemen. So we can get both of those in shot. Now, something I wanted to talk about this morning as well is our proximity to the animals and how we locate ourselves. If you can have a look at these two individuals now, they're my perception after sort of working and living and travelling in and out of Africa over 20 years, my perception is that they're not too fazed by us being here, and I want everyone to know that it's really important. We would never intrude on. Like, I would never get so close that I'm going to make either of these stand up, kill them. We didn't. We were very, very fortunate to be there, and Pete did an amazing job to drive down with those animals, but they had a successful kill. So it just goes to show you that. You know, we're not impeding their success rate. Beautiful look on that individual. I like that lion. I really like that lion. He's the one that's got the little sort of dark tinge around or scar tissue on his eye, and a couple of nicks on his ear. Out of the 5 boys, this is my favourite boy, this guy. I really like his look. He's a little bit smaller than, but he's they're still very alert, and I have to say that it may not be over yet. We've got the blonde maned individual like 2 or 3 metres in front of the vehicle at the moment, and having this little bit of cover here is also very good for them. They can still rest. But they can also listen for anything that's potentially coming onto them. So this is just a bit of a buffalo festival for them at the moment. This guy's getting up here, just this blonder male here in me. Slipping down there a little bit more. Finding a little bit of a shadier or more comfortable spot. But we'll stick with this guy here because I'm really liking this guy. He's just fantastic. He's got this look about him. I don't know. He's just got this look that he's like he's a bit weird than the other three that are similar age to him. He's got this great look on his eye. He's got this sort of pirate patch or something around his eye there, and when he looks at us again, you'll see he's got a couple of nicks out of his ears as well. I really like him. Walking very close to us now. Beautiful. That's 2 meters, folks. Less than 2 meters, 1 meter away from us. About 3 feet in front of our vehicle, completely unperturbed. Doesn't even really, he gave us a little bit of acknowledgement there, and that's the great thing. They don't find us a threat or anything towards them at all, other than a big green box with well, potentially some juicy bits in the middle, but they don't know that, and that's the way we keep it. We keep it as we never break the shape of the vehicle, we never stand up, we move slowly when we're around them. Just going to roll down just so you can see where he's gone to, and then you might see the others under there as well. There's 2 more boys just through there. Just a little bit of rustling around, folks. Please excuse me. I just want to sort my camera out, etc. Well, folks, I think these boys are going to be doing this pretty much for the next half an hour or so, or probably longer. We know where they are, and I think they're definitely settled in for a sleep. I think if we move on and start to have a bit of a look around, and we'll come back, we'll stay in this area, and we'll come back and have a bit of a look later on. I think that's probably the best thing, because we've seen a lot of flat cats in the last 24 hours, and there's so much more to look at. We've had incredible encounters with these guys. So I'm going to make an executive decision here, and I'm going to drive on. As hard as it is to drive away from lions, we know where they are. They're definitely not planning on moving anywhere. They've got that half a carcass at least to eat, and we can come back and check out these guys either later before we close today, and definitely this evening. So you just don't know what's going to happen. But wasn't that fantastic? You don't know what's around the next corner. There was nothing back at there, and we came around and they're lying in the middle of the road. Beautiful. Lovely stuff. I think there's another one here somewhere. There's definitely that one back up. Oh, there's one just there. That's very close. Just that's very close. That might be a little bit close for Jason's liking there, at the same level as he's sitting. But he's completely relaxed as well. Just lying in the shade. He is 2 meters from the vehicle, and see, this boy is definitely well, when I say definitely, I'm having a guess, but there's 3 boys that look very, very similar in their mane and their age, and then there's that bigger, blonder male with much more developed mane, and then there's another individual that is just a little bit different looking as well in the size of his mane. So I think it could be 3 brothers and then 2 other individuals, potentially from the same pride, and have all been sort of kicked out at the same time. Or they could be from the same pride and 3 brothers got kicked out and then met up with 2 others. There's so many different scenarios that can occur, folks, but we will never know exactly unless we were right there at that time. A really interesting thing is we were only about 10 meters back from this individual here, and you could hardly see him through that vegetation. So the camouflage is absolutely fantastic. He's definitely fixated on that area for some reason. So it's interesting, 3 boys have gone down and gone to sleep, and it looks like the other one and this one are just watching that kill. That kill number 2. I'm in 2 minds now. I'm not sure whether to go or not. I might just back up a little bit and watch what he's looking at there. Okay, buddy. Totally fine, mate. Absolutely fine. See through there, Jace? Absolutely fine, my boy. Those ears are picking up so much information. He's relaxed, but he's not fully relaxed. Definitely keeping an eye on that kill number 2. Just going to take a photograph, folks, because I'm so close to him at the moment. It'd be rude not to. He sort of goes into these states where he little social call there, where's he? Asking where his buddies are. Just a little contact call there. Little contact between his brothers. Just gone, I can't see one up at the carcass, so he's definitely just making those little contact vocalizations there. Excuse me. That roar will end up becoming the most chilling, most beautiful sound you could hear in the African bush. Used to communicate to announce presence, to bond, and many other things, but that beautiful sound, there is nothing quite like hearing a lion's roar in the distance in the African bush, particularly at night when you're going to sleep. I just see him and he's like, excuse me, he's not quite wanting to lie down, he's keeping his eyes open, and I just feel, intuitively, I just feel like we should sit here a bit longer. If you can tweet us, send us tweets or emails and give us some sort of indication of whether you're keen to sit for a little bit longer, or whether you are keen for us to move on. And I will do whatever the majority says, of course, exactly what we would do in a normal situation of having our guests on the back, which you are, but there's a lot of you, and I really want to just go with what the general consensus is, if you want to move on, or whether you want us to stick around just for a few more minutes, or maybe 10 more minutes. So there's some vultures turning up as well, which the lion will... Oh, there you go. I thought that was the case. I thought that was the case. Let's just follow this guy. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. He just saw a vulture out of the corner of his eye, and he saw that vulture turn up. Can you see him, Jace? All the vultures are coming in now. You can see them all just starting to arrive. Alright, now he is not happy about that, either is the other individual. Can you see them up there? I'm just going to try and get back for you a little bit. I'm just trying to get this in picture for you. It's through the vegetation there. The best shot is probably just there. You can just see the tail end of them. And the brother is up a little bit further, but those vultures would make quick work of that carcass if those boys weren't watching. So I knew that there was something up. He was definitely keeping an eye on that carcass. vultures, white-backed vultures flying overhead. Let's just, I'll tell you what, I'm going to just drive around up a little bit closer and just see what he does. So what's he doing? He's turning around now. It was a quick, definitely a quick exit for him. As soon as he saw that vulture, and I just sort of caught a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye. He's just through there, watching that carcass very, very closely. Control, do you copy? Control, my comms are down on my comms to you, so just stand by. Okay, Control, just grab Jace's if you can go for. Folks, I'm just, while we're sitting here, I might just move around a little bit further and give you a little shot of the line. I'm just trying to get my communication with the control center. Seems to have gone down, and I'm not sure whether it's moisture in the system, but some really interesting bird action going on. There's a lilac-breasted roller chasing away a vulture. Now, that's an animal about a 50th of its size. Let's just go and park up around here. Jace, if you can just have a look up there behind you, there's a couple of white-backed vultures in the tree there. They'll probably be silhouetted, but up in the tree there, the vultures are starting to arrive. So we've got white-backed vultures. We've got, there's a couple of hooded vultures I saw lingering around as well. And yesterday morning with Scott, you definitely saw what work vultures can do on a carcass, and you can hardly see the carcass. They just go for it. One individual normally makes the first move, and then once that's happened, it's an absolute melee of eating and everything. But up on that tree, you can just see that little bird in the bottom of the screen there. That's a lilac-breasted roller, and talk about, hey, a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's a really courageous little bird. He's taking on vultures and pushing them away. The poor old vulture as well, another animal that I would love to get rid of these misconceptions, like the hyena. They're an incredible animal, fantastic, do an amazing job, and also just have this reputation for being, like, you know, the undertakers of the bush, and you know what they do. That's exactly what they do. But they are really the only, well, not the only, but a proper scavenger, They, you know, hyenas think that, people think that hyenas are scavengers, but hyenas are also incredible predators. They do an amazing predatory job as well. But these guys are definitely scavengers, and they do a incredible cleanup in the bush. They're not fantastic flyers actually, so they really do have to. I mean, they can. If it wasn't for thermals and the air currents, they would struggle, and they really rely off each other to find food. They keep their eyesight is incredible. I think I've read things of their eyesight being like 8 to 10 times stronger than a human. They have a great ability to spot other animals looking for food, and then they all work in together, and that's one of their traits. But they're also persecuted badly. They suffer badly from any toxins or poisons in the environment that may be left from an animal being poisoned or something like that. If the vultures then come down and ingest that, then you've got a serious situation on your hands. You've got a really serious loss of life when it comes to the vulture population. So in some areas, if you look at there's an index or an organisation, and it's a worldwide organisation called CITES. It's an acronym for the Convention in Trade of Endangered Species, and they'll have an appendix, a list of all the animals in the world that are either endangered, right down to I think the last one is. I'm just trying to think what the last. I should know that straight up, but I wasn't expecting to talk about it. The last category is basically that the animal is not anywhere near a least concern. That's what it's called, least concern. So that's an animal that there's huge numbers of, and there's no need to be concerned about them on a scientific level. But then there's vultures that are in a category called near threatened, and that's because of the massive loss of life that occurs when the animals will eat a poisoned carcass. And that sort of thing does occur. There's a line up on this kill here, so let's go and have a look at that. Okay, mate. Everything's fine, my friend. You're a beautiful boy, aren't you? So whilst you're looking at these pictures, folks, and seeing this line, attempting to have it get my... So please excuse the shuffling around. Control, do you copy? Can you hear them, Jason? Loud and clear. Okay. Control, do you copy? Folks, I'm just, excuse the discussion we are just about to have. I'm just got to talk to Jason and get his headphones and just have a little talk to Control, because I've lost communication through my earpiece for some reason. Maybe it was the rain last night, so please excuse me just for a second, but I'll be definitely right here with you. Control, do you copy? Control, do you copy? Yeah, I've just borrowed Jason's earpiece, mate, so I've got comms now, but my either my earpiece or my jack has either gotten wet last night or is just not functioning. No problem, mate. We're going to have to just make a bit of a plan here, and I'm going to use an extension lead from Jason's input, and from here on Jason won't have comms, but I will, because my my jack and headset has gotten down and is not functioning. Okay, brilliant, mate. Thanks for that. I'm sorry, I just hadn't heard from you guys for a bit, and I wondered, and I thought then, yes, we have no comms. So just bear with me. I'll get us operational and come back to you. Stand by. Great stuff, mate. Okay, folks. My little headset, not my headset, but my earpiece and where it plugs into, is not functioning, so we're just doing a little bit of rewiring here whilst you're watching these pictures. Okay, Jace. And this is what happens in the bush. You make a plan, don't you, Jace?
Make a plan.
Okay, buddy, if you can just pop that into your... maybe just underneath there. Yep, anywhere you want. That's great. And then we'll figure out whether it's my earpiece. Well, Control, can you give me a radio check, please? Now I've got you. Alright, all good. What we've just done is rigged up one of the extension microphone leads to Jason's input, and I now have comms, but Jason doesn't. So any information you need to relay, Jason, just let me know, and we're all good. Okay, mate, will do. Okay, excuse me, folks. We're all good. We're all back and operational. So I can hear the control room now. It's just really important that I hear when we can cross to Scott. And And if I can't hear that, I can't give any sort of leads in, and I can't hear them telling me that we're off camera or whatever. So it's really important to have those comms, particularly when you're switching between vehicles. So Jace, if any messages come through for you, mate, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
So this is what lions do. They'll come down and just go back to the carcass, back and forth, and have a feed whenever they want, exactly like we would do in a way. Go to the fridge on your day off, you might have your breakfast, lunch and dinner, but then you might feel like a bit of a snack in between. Well, same deal, but they're also doing one special thing, and that's protecting this carcass. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be something as the size of a vulture, and the lion will break. And just one of the many things that I have is patience, huge patience. I think that should be a term, the patience of a vulture. That's what we need to have too, actually, when we're out here in the bush. We need to have patience of a vulture with things, and just take your time. And like Pete did last night, wonderful interpretation of what was going to happen. And you know, we've done it many times where we've just waited and seen what's going to happen. And that's all a part of being out in the African bush, or any wild area for that matter. Having patience with wildlife is what it's all about. If you're driving through Africa, and again anywhere in the world, you drive up to a place that you think animals might congregate, particularly waterholes and things like that, you can't just drive up there and look for like 10 seconds and go, no, nothing's here, and drive on. It's really good just to sit and watch and wait. You just don't know what's going to be either sitting in the shadows or potentially walking up to you, which is even the more sort of preferable position, is animals coming to you and being comfortable, and then letting them dictate the situation. I think that's a fantastic position to be in. We've done that with elephants many times, which I'm having a little bit of a withdrawal for at the moment. I really need to see some elephants in the next 12 hours, so we're going to be putting our feelers out for that. We've just got another vehicle arriving now, folks. That's the sound that you'll be able to hear coming through the vegetation. All arrived, and some people.
So what's the other one, the young one, Jake?
Just down below, along that same road, about probably 150 metres. When you drive back that way, you'll just see a small patch of rumen left on the ground, and that's it.
Oh, they eat it?
Yeah, I think hyena probably took off the rest.
The small one.
It was a juvenile, yeah. Just exchanging some information with the other vehicle, and that's an important sort of thing to do. What we do is we'll just share a bit of information and let everyone know what happened if they weren't here the night before, and it sort of puts all the pictures together in the story. And the other thing that's really important is that, you know, the sharing of these encounters is first and foremost, and we make sure that we do that really thoroughly with all the guests and all the teams, because we're all sharing this area, and it's all about trying to get that beautiful encounter out to as many people and making sure that we don't impede the animal animal's ability to hunt or do whatever it needs to do, but at the same time using the knowledge of where we can go, how we can go, and letting people take back those wonderful stories to wherever they come from, and spread that massive message of how important the habitats and the environment and this wildlife is. So it's really important stuff to get everyone to have these close encounters and allow people to have that life-changing memory that will stay with them for a very, very long time. That's what Safari Live's all about. It's about giving you these encounters and letting you talk about them and let you experience them and have these wonderful memories for a long, long time. Very, very close to that vehicle. I'm just laughing at the people that are on that vehicle. Obviously, we don't show the other vehicles for privacy reasons, folks. But that cat was looking into that vehicle very, very closely. Well, we might see what our friend has gotten up to. He's moved off, and I'm just going to go back around on the road. We just got an email from Karen in New York, and Karen, welcome to Safari Live. Really great question. Around with for a minute, and couldn't quite see what was going on, but you asking about why he was pawing the ground there, and really, really important question. As far as I can gather, the only part of that inside of that animal that they won't eat is the rumen, and that's the undigested, or partially digested, I should say, stomach contents of the vegetation. So they like to get that. Definitely not on their menu, and he's come back now. Definitely not on their menu. And what they'll do is pour that out of the ground. Now he then these boys are not doing that quite yet because they're not quite old enough. But the pouring in the ground around the carcass was, I'm looking at it now where he was, and I can see it's all pushed aside. It's the rumen, or the partially digested stomach contents from that several chambered stomach that a ruminant has. And a ruminant is many of the herbivores that we look at, giraffes, all the antelope, buffalo, even things like camels, they're ruminants, and they're an incredibly adapted, efficient herbivore that has a several chambered stomach that has the ability to regurgitate its food from the first chamber called the rumen and chew that over, and then that passes back down into the next stomachs and into that fermentation process. So they do have an incredibly efficient digestive system, these animals, but the big cats, that's definitely not on their menu or on their list, so they move it aside. A bit like our naughty kids now, again, that would just eat the meat and push the vegetables aside. But yeah, that's not on their menu, that's for sure. So he's definitely not going to let this kill out of his sight. He's on sentry duty at the moment. And there's no way these vultures would come anywhere near this at the moment, because he would just chase them away. Have a great day, folks.
Thank you.
Did you get us on the movie?
No, we didn't.
He's got good things in his contract.
Cheerio. I think it's really important to explain this to everyone, because it does come up with us sometimes in questions. Why don't we show the people on the other vehicles? Well, I think, you know, we want you to know every different facet of what we do here on Safari Live, and there's an incredible amount of logistics involved, as you know, when it comes to coordinating our vehicles and the radios and the communication and the signal and all the technology that has been put in, and Graham Wallington and his team behind the scenes have been doing this for such a long time. Over a decade they've been doing this in all different ways, shapes and forms. So, you know, the dedication there is immense, overwhelming when you listen to the stories that we just can't go filming anyone without their consent. So it's not just a verbal thing that we can ask, oh, can we put you on camera? It's just a thing that, generally speaking, it's much easier and much more professional, and the code of conduct and philosophy behind it is that you will hear us talking to people sometimes in the vehicles. Sometimes we talk to the guides because we've got all their consents. But the people on the vehicles, we don't know, we've never met them before. They're either holiday makers or local people that have live in the area, and we just need to make sure that we keep to that and respect their privacy. It's very, very important. So he's got a little bit more of a mane, this boy, than the other two. So I don't know, you know, I think there's 3 cubs from the same litter, and this boy here and maybe the other boy could be from the same pride, but are a little bit older. That's what I think. And you know what? We're all going to have our interpretations on this, of these Birmingham boys. But I really am not sure, but I'm just going to use that little theory for a bit. Excuse me, having a drink, folks. I'm just going to edge forward so Jason hasn't got that wonderful twig in his way there. You can see a proper shot of this lovely, lovely face. There we go. That's a bit better. So when I asked about the tweets and everything, I'm pretty sure you would have come back to us. Control, can you give me a little indication what the majority of people wanted to do, please? Whether they wanted me to stay at this lion kill with these guys, or move on and have a look around and come back before close. Okay, thank you, Control. Majority of people have said stay, so we will sit this out for a little bit longer. Control, can you tell me, is the jigger on the road? And Scott, because I haven't heard anything for the last sort of hour, and I'm sorry because that's because my comms have been down. Okay, thank you, Control. Folks, I just wanted to update you on that situation, why we're not crossing to Scott, and you know, it's really important that we see what both vehicles are doing, and you know we always do that if we can. And if we don't do that for some reason, it will be either because A, like last night, we were, you know, with Pete on this incredibly intense situation that was unfolding, and as much as impala and wildebeest and giraffes and everything are really exciting as well, when you're on something like what was happening last night, you just would not want to cross to see my head driving along a road. So that situation was last night, but the situation this morning is that the Jigger, the vehicle that Scott's driving this morning, got quite wet last night, and we're really just driving around waiting for it to dry out. Now when I say wet, the vehicle itself is operational, because you know these vehicles go through, you know, anything. They can withstand anything, but it's the technology on board that is the thing. And all the technology, if we do get any water crossing a circuit in any way, shape or form, and we power up the whole system, it could be the end of Jigger's existence as we know it, as one of our two valued vehicles. And we just cannot take that risk at the moment. So folks, I just wanted to update you on that. We're not crossing to Scott for any other reason, and it kills me actually, because I think, you know, it's really important to hear what the other guys are doing, and I just really want you to know that we're not just sticking with this because it's a line, we're not just sticking with this because there's nothing else around. We're sticking with this because we do not want to take the risk of powering up the Jigger and turning on all that in high-tech equipment in the back of the Jigger and having a absolute disaster. So thank you for understanding, and I just wanted to share that with you. I think it's really important you know the mechanics and every single thing that works on our project here on Safari Live. It really is important, and to me, to everyone else, and that we keep you informed with everything that's going on, because the honesty and the rawness and the reality of this is what we're really, really proud of. Graham has been absolutely adamant that this is live all the way through his decade of doing this, and I just think that the detail of what I just talked about is part of that big picture. We don't try and hide anything, we don't try and pretend anything, we just make it real and make it happen here in the bush. And if we can't make it happen, we're honest with you about that as well. But the reality is that the Jigger just needs a little bit of TLC this morning, and that is what it is going to receive. Isn't he a beautiful boy? I might just have to take a photo of you, my friend. Got a bit of shuffling around here, folks. I'm sorry, I just want to take a nice photograph of this boy. I do like his face. I just heard that as well. He looked around and I just looked over there as well. I just heard some noise in the bush there. I don't know what it was, but it could be that buffalo herd approaching. Goodness, wouldn't that be incredible? Or it could have been just vultures over there landing in a tree, so we just can't quite see. I can see a lot of vultures coming in and landing in trees around, which we will have a bit of a glance at when we get them into good shot. But I'm only telling you those or describing those pictures for you because we can't quite see them from here. Or one just nearly flew through shot then. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's vultures just looking around. There's a really nice shot. Well done, Jace. That's fantastic. Hard to track these guys flying through the sky. Circling around overhead, just getting a bit of a location and a bit of a look at this carcass and knowing where it is. Bobby on Twitter just asked, "Hi Bobby, lovely to have you on board," and great question. She said this line looks a little bit grubby, a little bit dirty, and do lions clean themselves? Well, they do. They spend a fair bit of time grooming themselves like a domestic cat does. You've probably seen the same sort of behaviour with a cat yourself, or if you've got one. They do that fantastic sort of paw licking and then rubbing their face and cleaning themselves. They do get a little bit grubby after eating, that's for sure, but that does clean up over time and break down. And if they do get any sort of mess in their mane, they'll it'll all just clear up over time as they move through the bush. But they do definitely look after themselves. And most important thing on this guy's mind at the moment is not how he looks, but what he's looking at, and that is any intruders that come anywhere near this kill. He is definitely on sentry duty while the others sleep. But great question, Bobby. And they do clean themselves very similarly to a domestic cat, and with that big raspy tongue that they've got, will groom their fur where they can. You sometimes see the males licking their mane with that big tongue that comes out, and they put their tongue down under their chin and lick their mane beautifully. Just got an email from Anna Marie in New Jersey. Welcome aboard, Anna, and fantastic to have you with us as well. Good question as well. There's some great questions coming through this morning. Would a leopard ever try and take over a lion kill, and vice versa? Well, the way it works is there's a certain pecking order with the lions, the predators. And lions are definitely up there on the top. They don't have really anything to worry about unless it was a very good population of hyena on a very, very small number of lions, and you may get a takeover of a kill. It doesn't happen very often, excuse me, but it does happen, and I've seen it happen in East Africa. But there was a population of hyena there, and there was only a pride of 2, sometimes 3 females. There was a really sort of nomadic group of females, and they were struggling to hold down prey, so they were getting tailed by these hyena all the time. But to come back to your question about leopard, highly unlikely, to the point of probably 0% of a leopard attempting to take on a lion, take a kill from it, that's for sure. If a lion for some reason moved away from a kill for one reason or another, which happens very rarely, there may be an occasion where a leopard would see past that kill and potentially enjoy some of the spoils of that, but very, very rarely, and that would have to be a very unusual sequence of events. So leopard pretty much get out of the way of hyena and lion. Now you saw the other night, if you were watching the night before last, Djuma, our leopard, on the area we were sitting doing our campfire chat, he was treed, what we call treed, by a hyena. He moved out of the way, and this beautiful lion is just coming towards us now. So close. Wow. So you might see this little urination now. He's just pushing that dirt back over his where he's just urinated there, rubbing his face on there. All behaviours that he will start to be much more proficient in when oh, he's just lied down right there. Beautiful. Definitely. So to finish answering your question properly for you, the leopard, if you look at all the predators next to each other, pound for pound and strength-wise, the leopard's top of their game. But we are looking at probably a third of the size of some lions in weight and muscle. So the lions, and definitely the thing that the lions have going for them is that their power is in numbers, whereas leopard are a solitary cat, really only coming together to mate, overlapping slight territories, and there's sorts of, home ranges that cross over and things like that, but a very, very different ball game there for the leopard. Solitary cats only probably having their youngsters with them up to a certain age, where they'll then push those youngsters away. But they don't have any power in numbers, the leopards. But the skill that they do have, and that's the joker in their sort of hand of cards, is they can get up a tree and escape. They not only can get up a tree and escape from predators, but they can get up the tree and escape with their kill. So they have the ability to take that kill up a tree and place it in the tree, which is completely inaccessible for most of the time inaccessible for lion, and definitely hyena and anything else. So vice versa, would a lion take a leopard kill? Absolutely, 100% if they can. But the thing that they've got is that lions aren't fantastic climbers. They will climb and they can climb, but leopard have this distinct advantage and agility over the lion. The lions, they're quite comical to watch climbing. They're not very sure of themselves, and it's all fine when you're going up. Coming down's a bit of a problem, and you will see that if you see a lion up a tree. They're very hesitant at coming down. I'm just going to move forward and get this tree out of the way for us, folks. This lion will be absolutely fine with that. Well, it's the same distance away. We're just moving parallel to him a little bit. It's okay, buddy. It's all right, my boy. Absolutely fine, my boy. I'm just moving to here, my boy. Yeah, that's it, mate. Good man. Just moving to here, if that's okay. We've still got those little shrubs, little sticks in front of us, but I can't do anything about that at the moment. But I think that's a pretty nice shot anyway of him just behind that little bit of vegetation. He's laid down now, and I think he's settled down a little bit himself, because he had a few situations there where vultures were starting to linger, or loiter is probably a better word, loitering around, and he didn't like that at all. And his partner in crime, that other individual, the one that was really nice sitting back in the vegetation there, and we were watching, and I was saying, like, he's keeping an eye out, and then he dashed off. He came to assist him, but he's gone back and retreated into a little bit of shade as well. So this boy here is doing all the hard work at the moment. He's the one endlessly keeping watch on this, and you can see what a huge effort he's making. He's fantastic, isn't he? But you know what? Only has to be a little noise like that and he will raise his head. He might look like he's sleeping, but never underestimate a lion's sense of hearing. You may hear a noise like this now and again. It's a bean bag, and what it is just a bean bag. It's a sack that I've got full of beans that I use to rest my camera on. Pete's got one as well, and if you're wondering what that noise is, that's what it is. You can see that sort of dark strip on the back of the mane there, and also the darker bit on the shoulder. That will all eventually connect up when that hair grows and be a very impressive, luxuriant, very, very showy mane that makes him look much more impressive and much larger than the females, but also can be quite conspicuous when it comes to hunting. If they're in a savanna type of situation, it can be actually to the lion's detriment, because he is going to be much more conspicuous to prey animals, and that's where the females definitely jump a rung up the ladder on the hunting level. They're the ones that can get sleek low to the ground and stalk beautifully through that long grass, whereas these boys have a tendency to be you know, noticed a lot more, I think, is what I'm trying to say, than the females. But in this situation, this sort of open, sort of little bit of slightly wooded acacia woodland here, with little open patches, they've definitely got great advantage still with their colour. And you noticed it just back before when we were sitting on the road there and we were watching one individual, and then I went to drive off and said we'd leave these guys and we'll come back later, and you know, within sort of 3 or 4 meters in front of me, just in the vegetation, was another individual. So they can blend in. Lions can be unnoticed in about sort of 45 centimeters of grass if they're lying like they are now. All you will see is that tail flick up in the air to get rid of some annoying flies, and you can drive past and not even notice them. So always good to take your time in the bush, always good to stop, look, listen, have as many sets of eyes on the vehicle as you can. And that's the great thing about game drive, is having on safari drive, you've got people watching, you know, you've got eyes on your vehicle, and that's exactly what our cameramen are for us. They're another set of eyes, and Jason and VM and Brian are got great sets of eyes, and they're a little bit more elevated than us as well, as you are on a safari vehicle. So it's really important. We always say to guests, keep your eyes open for us, your lookouts as well, and that's a great thing to have. So it's a really great bit of teamwork. So we've got flat cats, folks, but that's okay as well, because we're in the presence of lions, and that just is probably one of the most special things on the planet. And later on today, I'm going in search of putting us in a position to get in the presence of elephant. I really want to try and find some elephant for us to have a little encounter with, because they're just so special to me and to everyone I know. They're just an incredible, incredible species, and we need to find ourselves some. It's been a little bit quiet, but I'll put the word out on the radio and have a listen after the drive and find out where the elephant herds are. Well, folks, I think what we should do is, I think we've had a lovely, lovely morning with them. So, what I do is, he sits up with, just set up with great interest in something, a noise that he heard just then. So forget what I was about to say. I was about to say we were going to have a little drive. And to see what else we can find, but he's set up, and it can be anything. It can be a vulture in a tree just flapping its wings that he's very attuned to. Vulture. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. What to do? It did. So if we can get a few more questions, yeah. That was it. They definitely want to lay low. They don't need to make their presence felt. They need to carry on doing exactly what they're doing, hunting, getting their strength, growing, building their coalition, building their bond with each other, and having great success doing that. As time goes on, and that conference will be led by that blonde individual that may come into his prime earlier, or will come into his prime earlier. I don't think he's that much older, but he could be like maybe a year older. And he might lead the way, and then having the force and the numbers that they do, they potentially could, the younger ones may come into a pride takeover early. Than they normally would have if they were by themselves or were just in a coalition of two. So at the moment they're in between two pride's territories in this sort of no man's land, and they're having great success. So we could be very, very lucky and have this group with us for some time here. Who knows? We can predict anything, you know, Bernice and everyone else wants to in these areas, and that's the beautiful thing about being in the Sabi Sands and the Greater Kruger. The Greater Kruger is a term that's used because the fences between Sabi Sands and Kruger National Park have been removed, and there's a wonderful, wonderful corridor now for all the different animals from both Sabi Sands and Kruger National Park to move through freely, unhindered, and we do get to see great, great numbers of all different species. So Bernice, fantastic question, but that's really what the answer is to the best of my knowledge. And if you read some more information about coalitions and territories with lion, you may get some more. But the point is, undercover at the moment, Bernice. Undercover, eat, drink, and be merry. That's what these boys are doing. Not sure if you can see, Jace, just here, something just unusual. Just on this branch here, mate, there's a beautiful millipede, something very different. If you can see what I'm pointing to, there's this tree in front of us. You may get it, or it might be right. So just go up a little bit and zoom in now. Oh, it's right behind, I think that. Is it just, it's right behind a branch there. It's a beautiful millipede. I'm just watching him go up. I just want a little bit easy. Can you zoom in a bit tighter on that, Jace? You can see him there, Jace. He's just behind, to the right. There he is, coming at, there he is. How tight can you get on that? Now I know that's a little bit far away, folks, but I just noticed that how the coromai walking up the tree branch there, and that's a millipede. Beautiful, beautiful invertebrate. We have loads of here in the reserves. They often, you see them on the ground, but you see them up trees as well. They'll eat fungus, they'll eat decaying plant matter. They're detritivores, which is a great word, which basically means they eat the detritus and the decaying plant matter and funguses, and do a very, very important job turning that back into great things for the land and soil and so on. But they're great contributors to the ecosystem, and they lay hundreds of little pin head shaped sized eggs in the ground, and then they'll hatch, and they'll have only about 3 pairs of legs when they start, and then they end up having up to about 140, 150, even more pairs of legs, really, really long ones. But each time they molt, which means that they shed their exoskeleton, these animals have their skeleton on the outside. It's called an exoskeleton, and they will shed that or molt that exoskeleton, and each time they do, they acquire new sets of legs, several new sets of legs. So when they're born, they're only really tiny, microscopic, hard to see them with the naked eye, and then as they get older and older, they develop into these fantastic creatures. Just thought that was a little side note, or a little footnote there from our line, who, if we go back to him and have a look, he's well, he's yeah, he's doing that. And he's very comfortable. We are about 3 meters away. Alex in control just sort of picked up on my joke there, which I'm glad someone did. I hope you did. Millipede, footnote, yeah, millipede, legs. It was all. It's just fantastic, isn't it? Yeah, no, it wasn't a joke, Alex. It was an accidental joke. So we've got about 5 minutes to go, folks, and I think it's been a pretty amazing 24, 48, 72 hours, or sorry, let me say amazing month here in Djuma and Arathusa game reserves. We've had so many encounters with so many wonderful creatures, and it's not just the predators as well. We have to always remember that just because we're in Big Cat Week, you know, we've got to focus to this habitat, which must account all the different creatures that fit into that, all the different food chains that are around, and how everything makes up this magical sort of tapestry of wildlife in front of us. And I think that when we picture all those little tiny creatures as well, all the invertebrates, all the fungus, all the different things that fit in, right from the small things up to these massive predators and elephant and giraffe, none of those big creatures would be there without the small ones. None of them would be there without the plants particularly. And most importantly, folks, nothing would be here without the soil. What's under our feet is probably, I'd have to say, nearly the most important factor of what we're doing here. That soil is the life force behind everything. It is the life force that gives us the pictures. Things combined allow the fauna, the flora, all the plants and to grow from. And once you've got plants, you've got wildlife, and once you've got wildlife, you've got a habitat within that sort of you know, ecosystem, and it all fits together beautifully. So everything goes hand in hand. And that's why the balance is so important, everyone. You know what? Balance is wildlife. That's what out of themselves. You've got a beautiful habitat and you've got a protected habitat. The animals will work out their balance perfectly. But when you get humans into the picture, that's when you start to have a little bit of imbalance. So we have amazing reserves. Managements all throughout the Sabi Sands and Greater Kruger and Kruger National Park, and they're probably some of the most important people on the planet, because they're the ones that put the hard yards in to managing these beautiful areas. We come along and we see these beautiful things, just to make sure the unloaded jobs. And I tell you what, folks, I'm singing their praises today, because they are just incredible people. Amazing amount of work that gets put in, years and years and years of hard yards out in the elements, gathering data so that we can have these encounters. So a big salute to you. Minute and a half to go, Axe line. We're 3 meters away, 10 feet from this animal. It's been a beautiful morning to be with you, everyone. I'm not going to sign off with my face. I'm going to sign off with this beautiful face that you're looking at this morning. And the Birmingham boys, these males have just been absolutely amazing over the last week, and it's been an absolute privilege to be with them. It's also been a privilege to be with you this morning. I'm having the time of my life, as is Pete, Scott and all the team. We're just really happy to be here, and we can't really talk about it enough. It's the most incredible experience, but the most important thing, and we say it every day and every night, is you. Having you on the other side of there is something that I've never done before, and this, I'm addicted, absolutely addicted. So folks, thanks again. Thanks from Jason and I. We'll drive around a bit more this afternoon, and we'll see you at 4 o'clock South African time. Have a great day.